Alright everyone, I want to thank you all for joining me once more on another great Ace Attorney Chronicles journey. And so far, first impressions of the game, it has been pretty great. I love the courtroom drama, especially the ridiculousness of some of the characters. There's a lot of exaggeration, but it works for this game and I love it. So if anything else, guys, we're going to continue onwards and see where it goes. So thank you all for watching and let's keep it rolling. 22nd November, 11:38 a.m. Supreme Court Judicature, Defendants, Antechamber 5. Is it Judicature or Judicature? I hope I'm saying it right. Excellent work, Ryunosuke. That was superb. My heart was in my mouth the entire time. It was almost unbelievable. I mean, looking at you in there, you were drenched in sweat, your eyes popping, your knees knocking, and you were grinding your teeth. It was a grim sight, but before I knew it, you started finding out inconsistencies in the testimonies. I think you might have a natural talent for being a lawyer. Forget it. It's terrifying. If I get through this, I don't ever want to see the inside of a courtroom again. Anyway, it looks like we've exposed your phantom lady at last. Miss Jezail Brett, a student from Great Britain, is she? That's what I was trying to tell everyone from the start. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone. There was a young woman with him, like I've been saying all along. Yes, you have, haven't you? I might not be overly confident in the courtroom, but my powers of observation are one thing I'm sure of. Yes, I can see that. So, about this young gentlewoman. Thanks to our detective friend, she was hastily escorted away from the scene, it seems. Did you see what happened with that? No, I didn't see any of it. I was just on my way out of the restaurant myself, then on the floor next to Dr. Wilson's table. I noticed there was a gun lying there, and just after I bent down and picked it up, I didn't have time to think about where the sound of the gunshot had come from. The waiter ran over to me looking as white as a sheet, and he bundled me to some sort of small pantry next to the kitchen. Fast thinking by the detective, he apprehended his suspect without a moment's delay. Yes, and because I was shut in the pantry, I have no idea what happened outside in the dining area. Ah, there you are. Well done, both of you. Professor Mikotoba. Well, it seems I was right. The pair of you make an outstanding team. You've exceeded my expectations, I have to say. Yes, it seems you planned this from the start. You arranged things so that I wouldn't be able to act as a lawyer in this trial. Our modern country is still in its infancy, our justice system even more so. Which is why I firmly believe that we need to send our brightest young stars overseas to learn all they can. I want to avoid a situation that may have resulted in your study tour to Great Britain being cancelled. Well, it makes no difference. Lawyer or otherwise, if I'm the kind of man who can't help his best friend avert the worst crisis of his life, I shouldn't waste everyone's time by going to study overseas anyway. What? What are you trying to say, Kazuma? So that's your stance. I was afraid you'd feel that way. Kazuma? Well then, it looks like it all comes down to you, young man. To me? Yes, you need to prove your innocence and uncover what really took place in that restaurant. I must say, I very much want to know the truth. After all, I have a personal connection to this case. Come to think of it, he said the same thing earlier this morning, didn't he? If you don't mind me asking, Professor, did you know the victim? Yes, I did. As you're probably aware, Dr. John H. Wilson was a visiting professor at UMA, and it was I who invited him. Oh, I see. I didn't know that before. Anyway, you're about to go into battle. The victim was a university professor from Great Britain, and a well-known one at that. Naturally, our government is looking to identify and punish the culprit as quickly as possible. But let's not forget who we're going up against. The gentlewoman whose involvement our police bureau went to extraordinary lengths to hide. Yes, and I'm sure the prosecution will be using every tool at their disposal to quash your case. What is with these sound effects, man? I feel like they're coming out of nowhere and not like... Or maybe it's because I'm not used to this game, the franchise itself. But I feel like the sound effects are ill-timed. But I have no doubt that you pair will put up a good fight right to the last. Best of luck. Thank you. Now then. There's something I think we may need. Of course. Good luck, Kazuma. Defendant Naruhodo. Court recess is over. Please make your way back inside the courtroom at once. It's time. Let's get back to it, partner. Let's go in there and deal a decisive blow. Before those old fossils know what's hit them. You know, I see him with a sword and I'm thinking, are we actually gonna get into battle? Kazuma? What? Thank you. Really? What for? Well, if you hadn't said you believed me, I'm fairly sure I'd already have been found guilty by now. Look, I have faith in you. As a lawyer, and as a friend. This guy is such a bro. Coming from you, that means a lot. If I'm found guilty in this trial, he's really gonna give up his dream of studying abroad. That's the kind of true friend he is. So this isn't just my battle anymore. Whoever we're up against, we absolutely cannot afford to lose. Alright, where the hell is that wind coming from? We're indoors. His bandana is still billowing. Alright then. I'll save the thank yous for after the trial. You can treat me to one of those sukiyaki meals I like from Yume Cafeteria on University Street. With an extra large portion, of course. Well, if I make it, sure. 22nd November, 12:09 p.m., Supreme Court of Judicature, Courtroom 2. The court hereby resumes the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Prosecutor Aochi, have you managed to subpoena the witness? Yes, Your Excellency, against all odds. And thanks to a certain young stripling, the prosecution is now under rather painful scrutiny from the government. Sorry. Let the government scrutinize, that's their job. It's nothing to worry about. It's highly unlikely that the good relations we forged with Great Britain will emerge from this trial unscathed. Will you still think it's nothing to worry about when the new treaty breaks down our nation founders? Again, terribly sorry. If the friendship between our nations is really so fragile, then the treaty isn't worth the paper it's written on. You really have nothing to worry about, Ryunosuke. What do you mean? A secret trial, anxiety over some foreign government's opinions, a bungled investigation, missing witnesses. Is this what our nation's justice system is? Is this the Supreme Court of Japan or of England? Shut up! Shut up, you jumped up, rookie boy! You and your friend know nothing of the situation our nation finds itself in. By aligning ourselves with this great world power, we'll become strong. Diplomacy has never been more critical. Steady political maneuvering is what will secure our futures. I won't deny that I'm no expert, I'm just a student, and one who could arguably study harder too. But standing here now in our Supreme Court, there is one thing that I feel very strongly. A country that fails to uphold the truth in its justice system is a country with no future at all. That's how you say it, Ryunosuke. Well said, Ryunosuke, despite the wide-eyed look of terror. You little brats! Thank you, Counsel. This court is the pinnacle of our nation's justice system and exists solely for the pursuance of truth. With that in mind, this trial will now resume with the next witness taking the stand. The visiting student from Great Britain, Miss Jezail Brett. I hope I'm saying that name right, by the way. Your Excellency. This guy just bungled his head. That's quite the design. Well, what a delight it is to welcome such a fine gentlewoman to Japan and from such a distant land. Tea. Someone bring English tea. In England, no discussions take place without tea. Is that true? No idea. So, could we possibly trouble you to state your name and occupation for the court? Of course. My name is Satoru Hosonaga. I've been working on... Yes, we know all about you already. Inspector Hosonaga, what are your manners? In England, it's always ladies first. Is that true? No idea. More importantly, a little earlier today, you said something to me. You said your powers of observation are the one thing you're sure of. Oh, yes, I think I did, didn't I? Yet your description for this amazing sight was simply a woman. Sorry, Vianosuke, but powers of observation aside, your powers of description are sorely lacking. Guilty. So, dear lady, once again, if we may trouble you for your name and occupation, please. Is she speaking English? Terribly sorry, dear lady, but what? They're whispering to each other now. I guess he's translating. The lady says her name is Jezail Brett. She comes from London, England. She's a visiting research student currently enrolled in the Yume University's medical faculty. Oh my! What a rare treat to hear the dulcet tones of the delightful language of the British people. I'm afraid I don't understand a word you said, but it was as beautiful as a hummingbird's song. As far as I can tell, the detective is translating her words faithfully enough. Yes, I do agree. You obviously do fine in England, Kazuma. Her English doesn't rattle you at all, does it? Nor you. You've clearly been paying attention in your English classes, Vianosuke. The court thanks the beautiful lady for taking the stand. Now, if we may trouble you to confirm something, Miss Brett. 3 days ago at a restaurant called La Carnival, a grim murder took place. The court has been led to believe that you were dining there with the victim, Dr. Wilson, at the time. Is that correct? She says, yes. This could take some time. So even though she's studying here in Japan, she can't speak any Japanese? She'd like to apologize for disappearing from the scene. She says that she was due to make a presentation at the university, so she had to leave immediately. Interesting, when you're the one who engineered her escape. I was just following special orders from the Bureau. Well now, dear lady, would you be so kind as to cast your eyes over this photographic print? Seeing as you were so unfortunately present at the scene of the crime, could it be that your resplendent eyes caught sight of the wicked perpetrator, perhaps? Apparently, it was very frightening, and a sorrowful sight. Do you mean to say... Yes, it would appear the lady did witness the crime. The very moment when the accused standing right there in this courtroom shot the victim in cold blood. Order. Order in the court. So even the lady's gonna lie. Okay. Did you hear that, Your Excellency? Here we have an absolutely conclusive witness statement. I wouldn't call it conclusive, but alright. Well, it looks like it's clear now. Clear with our real enemy. Oh, clear who our real enemy is. Unfortunately, I will have to ask you to formally testify if you please. Kindly tell the court the exact nature of this frightening and sorrowful sight you described. A frightening and sorrowful sight. I had arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day. The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beef steak. After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor and they got into a fierce argument. No we did not. Then, not long afterwards, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes. And no, I did not do that either. We need to cross-examine this nonsense. I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit. Yes! No, I didn't have any kind of argument with the professor at all. Objection! Quiet, you filthy wretch. Look at you, you black-hearted blackguard, and look at this snow-white angel. I'm sure even a dark-minded scoundrel like you can imagine whose words the court is going to believe. So this is an unfair justice system, is what you're telling me. You're still making the same mistakes, Ryunosuke. You mustn't blurt out when you're goaded like that. That's a lesson you need to learn. But he's so annoying. Of course, I was at the scene as well. I took the statements from the lady and the two witnesses who testified before and reported back to the bureau. It was decided that Miss Brett was not involved, so I let her go. The testimonies of the last two witnesses were completely worthless, however. Well, even so. On the day in question, the lady was wearing the same outfit as she is today. As you can see, there is nowhere about her person where she could conceal a firearm. Alright, see, I wouldn't even go that far. She could have concealed it anywhere there, alright? Maybe in her stupid hat. I would think she would hide a gun almost anywhere in that outfit if she wanted to. You see, exactly! Thank you, Ryunosuke, you get it? Unless and until the precise location where the witnesses that have a hidden weapon can be shown, this is moot. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. Those are the witness' own words for the matter. Then your hat. Ugh, that's ridiculous. If only I was allowed to lift up her dress, I could prove it. Sure. Don't think about doing anything rash, Ryunosuke. But I didn't fire the gun I picked up. There must have been another gun there that day. You're right about that, which means the lady was hiding a gun somewhere. Yes, that's what we have to prove now. And to do so, we will need to pull her testimony apart. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. Oh, yes, Your Excellency. Finally. Okay. I may actually have to... I may have to argue with her a bit. Okay, that's true. You had arranged me? Okay. The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered myself only a beef steak. Hold on a second. Let me see that picture. Only a beef steak? Only? Let's see that picture. That's where he was shot. And then we'll hit, cancel. Because it's not just a beef steak. I see a drink here. Alright. So, I don't know if that's water or champagne, but I'm gonna see if I can get her with that. Yes! Well, what about the last statement made by the witness? It seems perfectly reasonable to me. Exactly. Perfectly reasonable in every way. Perhaps you should take a lead. Alright, fine. Whatever. That's fine. I'll take the hit. Or myself. Only a beef steak. After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor and they got into a fierce argument. Yes! I never got into an argument with the professor. All I did when I noticed him was go over to say hello. Please don't get angry with me. No, I wasn't directing that retort at you. It was meant for the lady next to you. But anyway, as I said, I did not argue with the professor. I'm afraid your words are in vain. Sorry? Miss Brett does not appear to speak Japanese. Well then translate for her, dummy. No, of course not. Japanese is such a cumbersome language anyway. English is the future. We must all speak English. Okay, we must all speak English. wonder if the prosecution will feel that way forever, or only in the presence of a beautiful woman. Well, that beautiful woman is telling blatant lies with a completely straight face. I have to find something that will unravel her testimony, no matter how seemingly insignificant it may be. Anyway, it seems that after the argument, the accused briefly returned to his own seat. That part ties in with what you said, doesn't it? Yes, I still had some coffee to drink. The next time you got up after that was when I finished my coffee and stood up to leave. Then not long after, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes. No, that's wrong too. Yes! Like I said, I did not shoot that gun. And like I said, there's no point repeating the assertion over and over. Well, I was expecting to be attacked by my own side. Nevertheless, defendant, you can't deny that when the shot rang out in the restaurant, you had a gun in your hand. Well, yes, that's true, but all I did was pick up the gun I saw on the floor next to the professor as I was leaving the restaurant. In fact, yes, there was someone much... That will do, you dirty, rotten scoundrel. Dirty? Your baseless accusations could very well cause an international incident, boy. It seems to me that your accusation is just as baseless as ours. What nonsense. The lady's merely stating what she saw. And this is already an international incident as far as I'm concerned anyway. I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit. Uh-huh. Hold on a second. Let me see something here. Time of death, after 2 p.m. Alright, cool, that's all I need to see. Waiter's business card. I need more evidence. This isn't gonna help me. I'm gonna call out on everything. Yes! It's all very well saying that, but can you prove it? Absolutely. I verified it personally. You verified it. Yes, immediately after the incident, I checked to make sure the lady was not carrying a weapon. I distinctly remember her saying, "I'm not." Okay, and that's it? Did you check, or did you just believe her words? That's all you did. You just asked her. Surely you carried out a physical search, Inspector. No. Why on earth not? The Honorable English gentlewoman clearly stated that she did not possess a weapon. Oh, okay. So, I've been trying to tell you guys I didn't shoot the guy, and you don't believe me, and we are in court because of this, but the English woman says, hey, I don't carry a weapon, and we all believe it. Alright. There was obviously no need for any further probing to that matter. Or, there was no permission given for any further probing to that matter, perhaps. Think what you will, but if you're going to continue with this preposterous claim that the refined lady was concealing a firearm, the prosecution demands that you support your assertion with facts. In other words, he wants evidence. That's what I'm trying to get, guys. That's what I'm trying to get. The lady wishes to point out that of course she wanted to stay and assist with the investigation, but she was in a hurry to give a presentation at the university, so she was compelled to leave. No, that's not a good reason either. Someone got shot and you just up and leave because you have a presentation? Listen, that's a lot of shady stuff right there. Not to mention the fact that your office had told you to get the woman out of there. No, get her out of there. I just urged her to leave. The lady would like to point out that she in no way meant to run away from the scene of the crime. Yeah, I don't believe that. Which is why she's only too happy to cooperate and testify here in court today, of course. And all too happy to already blame me. Unlike a certain student who refused to admit when the game is up. You could at least have the courtesy to pay attention while I'm goading you. So she's maintained that you got into an argument with the professor at the end, of which you shot him. Which is an out-and-out, totally unfounded lie. Still, her statement is very compelling. After all, she's an elegant, refined, young, and beautiful gentlewoman from Great Britain. That makes no sense, my guy. In stark contrast to you dressed from head to toe in dull black school uniform. I'm dressed exactly the same way as you are, except for the flapping red ribbons. Yeah, and to this day, is the windows open? Is the wind strong? Because why is it still billowing? I want a bandana like that, guys. It blows where there's no wind. Well, anyway, this is our only chance to expose her testimony as the fiction that it is. If we can't do that, the trial's over. Even you, with your thick skin, must be able to feel the murderous looks you're getting from around the room. Only too well. I feel half dead already. And the fact that I can't see a single inconsistency in her testimony isn't making me feel any better either. First thing to do is press on any of her statements that seem even slightly off to you. Do that and an opening will present itself, I promise you. I need to expose the true face of this exotic foreigner that's hiding behind the mask. That's what I should be aiming for in this cross-examination. Okay, yep, fine. Yes! He was unable to eat, you say? And that was because he just had a tooth removed at the Hata clinic, correct? That's right. You're supposed to actually check with the witness before answering. Was Miss Brett aware of that fact? It seems so, yeah. She heard that the professor was to have some dental treatment. So that would mean that it was you who ate the steak pictured here. Is that right, Miss Brett? See? So I was supposed to use the picture after I questioned her. Okay, I was supposed to push her a bit. Okay, whatever. I was right. There was a drink there. I don't know why I'm pointing. You guys can't see that, but you get the point. That's right, yes. The print you have there shows the table exactly as it was left after the horrifying events. Exactly as it was left. Dear me, what a harrowing experience. To have traveled to a distant island on the far side of the world and be embroiled in such a tragic incident. Have no fear, my dear lady. I swear I will crush the evil fiend that has subjected you to this terrible plight. So the victim, Dr. Wilson, had nothing to eat or drink at all? That's right, other than some carbonated water. Just water. Yes, the professor was unable to eat, but he had been given permission to drink water. So it appears that the diners toasted their lunch with a glass of water each. They each raised a glass of carbonated water? What do you think, Vianosuke, about the... well... I guess it's meaningful. That last thing you did, Miss Brett, was profound bearing on this case. Well, well, how fascinating. Do tell us, what is this profound bearing? The significance of the statement will become apparent when the time is right. The defense calls for the witness' last statement to be formally added to the testimony. Well sidestepped, counsel. Very well. Miss Brett, kindly repeat what you just said to be added to your official testimony. Gladly, she said. That was brilliant, Kazuma. I'm going to remember that one. Which one? The significance will become apparent when the time is right. I could really use that phrase. I'd hope there are some more useful tips you're picking up from this experience than that, Ryunosuke. Oh, hold on a second. Let's go. Let's start from the beginning. Yes! After 2 p.m. in fact, that's really quite late lunch, isn't it? Objection! You don't keep up with the latest fashion from Britain, do you? Late luncheons are in vogue, isn't that right? No. A decisive English no has quite a sting to it. The gentlewoman is currently working in the victim's research laboratory, it seems. So it was apparently a daily occurrence that they would lunch together. But on the day in question, the victim had another appointment at the clinic first. Yes, which we can prove from the medical report card that was submitted as evidence earlier. That's right. Miss Brett and the victim went to lunch following the victim's treatment, which is why it was so late. Yes, that all makes perfect sense. Such wonderful logic. What a shining example of English intelligence this fine gentlewoman is. So you both arrived at the restaurant. What happened next? Ordered a beefsteak for myself and the professor, and said cheers over a glass of carbonated water. Yes! So both you and the professor drank this carbonated water, did you? Being the waiter, I poured the 2 glasses myself. I clearly remember doing so. Except you're actually a detective. And the beefsteak, that was for you, Miss Brett? The lady says that she heard it was not customary to eat beef here until Japan opened its doors to the world. Yes, that's true. What a frightful place is the lady's opinion. And I've heard it's not customary to eat sashimi in Great Britain. Now that's frightful. Every country has its own cuisine. As long as people have food to eat, it doesn't matter what it is. True, come to think of it, the first time I tried carbonated water, it was much more of a shock than the first time I tried beef. But anyway, back to the witness statement. Somehow, I feel like there's something out of place in what she's saying. We need to pounce on even the slightest thing now, because you never know what might lead us to our goal. Our goal of turning this trial around. Understood, Kazuma. Alright, we're gonna have to use this. I'm gonna have to see. Yes! That's it. Let me just confirm something, please. It's to do with this photographic print. Just a short while ago, you spoke of this print showing the victim's table at the crime scene. That it was exactly as it was left. That is correct, the lady says. Well, it's odd. Very odd. Dear me, what's odd is the defense inability to express itself. Ryunosuke, what is it about the print that looks odd to you? Well, obviously, it's the cheers. The cheers? Miss Brett just told us that she and the professor said cheers over a glass of water. But if that's true, there should be 2 glasses on the table, not 1. You're quite right, counsel. There was only 1 glass picture. Objection! Are we supposed to be impressed by this nitpicking over minutiae? What possible difference does the presence of or absence of a glass make on the case? Objection! Minutiae, you say? Could it be that the detective here removed the glass from the table to conceal the lady's presence? Of course not. I would never do something so reckless. But there should have been 2 glasses on the table. Or are you going to try and tell me you can clink with only 1? You're quite right. I certainly took 2 glasses to the table. Inspector, what did the lady say? It would seem that it was Miss Brett who took the glass from the table. What? It was all so terrifying, everything that happened. I panicked and thought I should try to hide the fact that I'd been there at all, she's saying. That doesn't help. In fact, that just incriminates you further. Really? There, as I assured the court before, this is of no consequence at all. Oh, please. We must remember that this student had just murdered this lady's luncheon companion before her very eyes. Who could blame her for concealing a glass or 2 in her state of disarray? Oh, this is just sad. That's absurd. Oh, really? So do we take it that you're now going to accuse the vulnerable, young, and beautiful woman of mischief? Yes! No. This can't be put down to mischief. I'd like to know exactly how the lady took the glass from the scene. It would seem that she slipped into a small handbag she was carrying. A handbag, you say? Oh, the handbag which could be carrying a firearm, maybe? Yes, Your Excellency, a small handheld pouch commonly carried by a well-to-do woman in England. So the beautiful lady was very graciously explained how and why she removed the glass from the scene now. However, the fact remains that the glass has absolutely no bearing on the case. Ah, yes it does. It means she's a liar. The student has been trying to confuse the court with logical reasoning, but in the end it comes to nothing. How is it confusing to use logical reasoning? You need rationality here, man. No more pretentious accusations. You have wasted enough time already. Indeed, the lady has offered a satisfactory explanation as to why she removed this glass. I think henceforth we can consider the matter to have no bearing on the case. Counsel, for the defense, are you in agreement? Well, I don't know really. If you want to pursue the matter further, you're going to need to show that it has some deeper significance. Yes, you're right. So she took the glass away in her handbag. Is there a deeper significance? Yes, handbag. Wait, the lady put the glass in her handbag, you say? Yes, do try to keep up. It's already been explained to the court that all English gentlewomen carry handbags for small items. Let me see. A little while ago, Miss Brett stated the following. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. See? Boom. But what she forgot to mention was her handbag, in which it would be perfectly possible to conceal a gun? You're right! Why is the judge stupid? Well done, partner. I had a feeling you'd pick up on that too. Either that or, yeah, obviously he's meant to be impartial, but still, come on. What are you insinuating, you vile blackguard? It's really very simple. The gunshot was heard when the defendant picked up the gun from the restaurant floor. As he didn't fire that gun, we can deduce there must have been another firearm at the scene. The true murder weapon, if you will. You can't seriously be suggesting. Inspector Hosonaga. Yes. Did you or did you not search Miss Jezail Brett's handbag on the day of the murder? No, sir. I did not. As I thought. In other words, another gun, the one that was actually used to kill the professor, could have been hidden in Miss Brett's handbag. No! Order! 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 What is the meaning of this, Inspector? The meaning of what, Prosecutor Alchi? Why on earth did you not have the lady open her handbag and show you the contents at the time? Thanks to your bungling incompetence, now she has to endure these uncomfortable accusations. Before, you were all for this, and now you're nervous. Brilliant work, partner. Now we have a chance to expose the real woman behind the mask. Do you think so, Kazuma? My guy here needs to get that checked out. Look at that. Well, what a sorry situation. Clearly, you have no faith in the police. Yeah, I don't. You're incompetent. As I said, I did not search the lady's handbag after the shooting. Exactly. Incompetence. Simply because it was unnecessary. What? Oh, get out of here. Unnecessary? In what way? I ought to thank the student lawyer, really. I have a piece of evidence here that I had completely forgotten about. You had completely forgotten about? Really? The photographic print. This print is of the photograph that I thought would be prudent to take immediately after the shooting. As you can see, it clearly shows Miss Brett's handbag. Well, I never. You can see right through what's inside. That's right. Apparently, meshwork bags like these are a height of fashion in London at the moment. So the contents are clearly visible. Exactly. So there was no need to search the lady's handbag. If there had been a gun inside, it would have been immediately obvious. As you can see, there's nothing to imply Miss Brett's guilt here. Thank you for helping to prove that, Naruhodo. Let me cross-examine that. Order, order. Inspector Hosonaga, you will submit that print as evidence at once. Exactly, I need that. Certainly, Your Excellency. I think you've had long enough to cross-examine the witness counsel. The court has now been shown considerable evidence. As the photographic print just submitted to the court record appears to have no further significance, I am satisfied that there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter and I must make my ruling. Indeed, and there's only one logical conclusion, that the pathetic rookie slumped over the bench before us is the only possible perpetrator of this crime. No. Let me look at that evidence. No. Just when I thought I was beginning to turn things around, I'm in the worst situation than I was at the start. Kazuma. I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. Now that the cross-examination of the witness is over, there's no way to force the trial to continue. What? You mean this is it? I must say, you put up quite the fight for a rookie student, but the weak are meat while the strong eat. You are wasting your time. There is no way to defeat true justice. A fact you can chew on to your heart's content from the inside of your cell. This can't be happening. Am I really going to be found guilty of a crime I didn't commit? And Kazuma, his dream of going to study in Great Britain will slip through his fingers. Kazuma, what? Is there really no chance now of turning the trial around? You heard the judge. There's nothing about the last photograph the detective produced that we can contest, which means there's no basis on which we can argue for the trial to continue. Very well, I will now proceed immediately to the ruling. It seems we will be able to report to the British government on time after all. That smug little. Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Wait, Your Excellency. Ryunosuke. I don't think you can rule on this case yet.
Objection!
The amateurishness is getting tedious. When His Excellency deems that the trial is over, he gives his ruling. That's the most basic protocol of the court.
Yes!
Your Excellency, just a moment ago, you said this. As the photograph print just submitted appears to have no further significance, there's no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. Now that means that if there was a problem with the evidence, like significant detail I mean, then ruling on the case at this time would be out of the question.
Objection!
This is blatant straw clutching. Look at the photographic print. All it shows is the handbag the gentlewoman was carrying on the day of the question. There can be no problem with this evidence. You better know what you're doing, Ryunosuke. Certainly, the new evidence submitted by the detective has not undergone the court scrutiny. However, I fail to see how we can glean any new information from this handbag. There's blood on this dude's hand right there. My thoughts exactly. Really, the prosecution is becoming tired of this rookie's desperate wheezes. Yes, I am desperate, but this isn't a wheeze. There's something about this photograph which just doesn't seem right. If only I could put my finger on it. Very well, I will grant the defense one final opportunity. But be warned that if I'm unsatisfied by your response here, the trial will be over with immediate effect. Do I make myself clear? Yes, Your Excellency. So, take another look at the photographic print Inspector Hosonaga submitted before. You will identify for the court where in this print we see the significant detail which you have alluded to. You identify the... okay, stop doing that. Can I hit this? Something is supposed to be glowing here, right? I should be checking this one out, but okay. Alright, there is something here I'm supposed to check out. My thing should be glowing though. I don't know why it's not glowing. Why is this thing going? Oh, okay. I can't like... Can I like go right here and just do...
Yes!
Look at this here. There's a very unusual mark on the victim's wrist. That is true. It looks almost like a burn of some description.
Objection!
Dear me, I was pondering what new profile you would come out with. A burn, you say, on the victim's wrist? Clearly that has nothing whatsoever to do with the magnificent lady's handbag. Yes, that is a burn mark, you're right. Go on, Inspector. The police coroner also noticed it when he was performing the post-mortem examination. It was deemed unrelated to the cause of death, so he didn't notice it in his report. Didn't note it in his report. What did I tell you? In any case, we have no idea when the victim suffered this burn, do we? And no possible way of knowing either. The more I look at it, the more I find myself intrigued by the curious shape of the mark. However, as Prosecutor Ochi points out, unless a firm connection to the case can be shown, I cannot allow any further time to be spent on the precise details of this burn. Excuse me, Your Excellency. It would deem Miss Brett has a lunch appointment with the Dean and other university staff. She would like to know if she may be excused from the stand now. Oh, of course, dear lady. We shan't hold you up any longer. I'm quite sure His Excellency is about to give his final ruling anyway. What's your thinking on this, Ryunosuke? Do you believe this burn does have something to do with the case? To be honest, I'm not really sure. But if I don't keep pushing, then it's all over. So I was thinking I should keep digging and digging in the hope that I might uncover something useful. Yes, you're right. I am? If we can just link that burn to the case. If we can do that, we might be able to prise the shutting door back open again. Just give up, Counsel. You can't possibly hope to do that. Indeed. I'm afraid that without evidence, I cannot allow you to pursue what is little more than conjecture. But if we had evidence that irrefutably linked the burn on the victim's wrist to the case, then you would allow it? I would, yes. To tell the truth, I hadn't noticed that burn. But as soon as you pointed out, what I did notice was the color draining from Miss Brett's face. Really, I have to find some link between that burn and the case. This is the moment of truth. It's time to find some evidence that proves what the burn really means. So then, the defense will now present its evidence to the court. The evidence that demonstrates an inextricable connection between the victim's burn and this trial. Okay, so... Oh, I got it. The bull mark. Perfect. I almost missed that too. Okay, cool. And we go...
Yes!
What's this, Counsel? Yet another print? Yes, Your Excellency. I believe photographic prints are an amazing invention. When we humans look at a scene, we miss things. But in a photograph, things we may have overlooked at the time are recorded forevermore. Do hurry up, Rookie. What are you trying to say? To inconvenience this poor lady any further really would be quite inexcusable. Actually, we may need you to stay with us a little longer if you don't mind, Miss Brett. You see, it's very clearly visible in this other photograph. How did the victim come to have that unusually shaped burn on his wrist? The reason is recorded here forevermore. What? How?
Objection!
You can't fool me with your little bluffs, boy. If that's your game, then let's see how it plays out. Show the court exactly what you mean. What is it in this photograph that explains the reason for the victim's burn? Ah. This right here?
Yes!
The beefsteak? Actually, the point is the metal plate the steak was served on. The plate? Ah! Your Excellency, are you alright? As you can see, there's an emblem on the plate. I would guess it's some sort of trademark of La Carnival. The emblem on the plate. And the victim's burn are exactly the same shape. Vianosuke, you genius! You're spot on. Which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant.
Objection!
But even if that is the case, we can't know if it happened on the day in question or not. It would have been the day before or the day before that. It most likely has happened at some other unrelated time. Well...
Objection!
Sadly, Prosecutor Alchi, the chances of that are extremely slim. Thanks. Why? The outline of the burn is clearly discernible. Such a serious injury would have caused quite a commotion in the restaurant. Wouldn't you agree, Inspector Hosonaga? I can't imagine having missed such a terrible disaster, certainly. But... I would say, looking at the picture of the wound, that it wasn't suffered very long ago. And although it's not particularly a large burn, it's extremely well defined as the defense just pointed out. This was no mild burn, that's for sure. Can you be more specific, Inspector? Well, let's see. If the plate was at around 90 degrees centigrade, a burn like that would have taken around 3 seconds. It's inconceivable that the victim wouldn't have let out a scream of pain then. I've been investigating at the restaurant for several weeks already, but I have not heard anyone scream at all. As the head waiter of La Carnival, I can testify to that without hesitation. But you're a detective. Now, wait.
Yes!
Something isn't right here. As the detective said, anyone who burned themselves in a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds would scream in pain. There's no question of that. And yet Inspector Hosonaga never heard the professor scream, not on that day or any before it. That's right, and the strange thing is, on the day he was shot, I didn't hear him cry out either. What are you suggesting? Well, if the professor had carelessly laid his wrist on the plate for anything like 3 seconds that day, that would be beyond careless, I think, counsel. Then the rest of us in this restaurant, myself, the sergeant and the old antiques dealer, all of us would without any question have heard him scream. Wouldn't you agree, Prosecutor Alchi? Well, yes, I suppose. So the question is, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream? Wilson. Anesthesia, I think. I almost don't believe it. Vianosuke, do you think... Can it really be true? I never dreamt we'd arrive at a conclusion like this, but I'm starting to think that maybe we've been led into a terrible trap. There's only one explanation I can think of to make sense of this apparent impossibility. On the day in question, when he suffered the burn to his wrist, Dr. Wilson, no man could remain silent while his wrist was burning on piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. That's clearly impossible, apart from in one particular situation. Yes, it's only possible if the man was already dead. Knowing what we know now, it's the only possible explanation. When the beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead. That's madness! Order, please. Counsel, explain this absurd notion at once. The victim was killed by a gunshot. That's right. That's absolutely right, Your Excellency. This is just another ridiculous ploy by the rookie student, but clearly he has no grasp of the facts.
Objection!
No, Prosecutor Alchi, it's you who has no grasp of the facts. I beg your pardon. As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered that burn while at the restaurant, This whole case was turned upside down, or have you not grasped that yet? Ugh. Your Excellency, the court must hear from this witness again. If it's true, as we now believe, that the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard, it's highly likely that Miss Brett knows something about it. Incredible. I certainly didn't anticipate this twist of events. I'm sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you will have to forget your luncheon engagement. But Excellency! The justice system is in our country may be in its infancy, but rest assured, all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I am prepared to pass judgment. Thank you, Your Excellency. What was that smile? Yes, of course. I mean, I'd be delighted to help, especially if it helps relations between my country and yours. All this time she could speak our language. She could speak Japanese. Miss Brett, you speak Japanese? Well, of course I do. I'm studying in your country after all. But then, why have you been speaking through an interpreter until now? My mother tongue, the Queen's English, is the most refined and elegant language in the world. As a gentlewoman, I try to avoid speaking in your vulgar tones as much as possible. But it seems the men in this land possess none of the chivalrous virtues of English gentlemen, so I can see that I shall have to lower myself to communicating with you all on your own level. Well, you are the epitome of a true English gentlewoman. We are truly honored by this lavish consideration you so graciously afford us. I see. In that case, Miss Brett, I will not ask you to testify in your own words about the events leading up to the death of the victim, Dr. Wilson. So we're finally going to hear her own words in the matter. Things are getting interesting, Ryunosuke. The victim's death. Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway. That most captivating and beautiful testimony will go down in the Supreme Court's history. Thank you. Easy does it. I hope that is the last time I'll have to sully my lips with the coarse tones of your unbecoming tongue. Oh, forgive me. I do hope I haven't insulted anyone. Not at all, not at all. It's a delight merely to hear you speak, dear lady. Oh, she insulted us a lot. And it seems very clear from your testimony that this boorish talk of the victim's burn is utterly irrelevant. Oh, it's very relevant, good sir. I will be speaking to your country's Minister of Justice about what has happened here today. The Minister of Justice? May that irritating little bully of a student be given the harshest punishment possible. Amen. Huh? Thanks. Was that a prayer then? Well, you'll have to forgive the irritation, Miss Brett, and put up with the cross-examination now. I expect you to notice that this little bully of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much. I'm sure I don't need to remind you, counsel, that this will be your final cross-examination in this trial. If you fail to demonstrate any problems with this witness testimony, I will be ruling out the case immediately. Is that clear? Yes, Your Excellency. Then you may proceed with the cross-examination. Up here we go. The victim's death. Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. You keep saying this. Yes! As you testified before, you were drinking carbonated water, is that right? Dr. Wilson was only permitted to drink water at the time, do you remember? Which explains why he ordered that drink, correct, waiter? Exactly as you say, sir. Although, whether or not the professor actually drank any of the water when I delivered the steak to the table, I'm afraid I don't remember that. Damn you. I have enough English to understand that, at least for the benefit of others in court, it means bless you. I think it means the exact opposite. Anyway. As far as I've heard, the postmortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot.
Yes!
Yes, it's written here in the paperwork, fatal hemorrhage from ballistic trauma. Yes. Luckily for all of us, a little burn on the wrist isn't going to kill us, and as there were no other signs of trauma on the victim's body to indicate some other cause of death, it can only have been a bullet from your gun that put an end to an innocent man's life. That doesn't make any sense. The bird must have been straight away when the plate was first brought to the table by the waiter. That's true. If it had been cooled even slightly, it would have been able to make a burn like that. And if the victim burnt his wrist in the hot plate as soon as it was brought out from the kitchen, then he must have already been dead at that point.
Objection!
And yet the fact that the victim was killed by a gunshot to the chest until you were able to show the court evidence to disprove that, this is a complete waste of time. I concur. Prosecutor Archie's right. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me.
Yes!
Without leaving a trace. If someone is shot or strangled or stabbed or thrown from a height, however, a person's life is taken, there are always telltale traces on the body. Quite right, dear lady. And as our police force has thoroughly examined the body of the deceased, there can be no doubt. Isn't that right, Inspector Hosonaga? As I've said, I always aim for a flawless investigation. There would be physical traces from all those causes of death, that's true. But maybe there's some other way of killing someone that doesn't have to leave a mark. If heaven forbid you doubt me, young man, you're going to have to tell everyone how exactly you think the professor did lose his life. Otherwise, I'm afraid your argument falls rather flat, doesn't it? Perish the thought, calling such a sweet young lady's innocence into question. We'll cut down any who dare cast aspersions. But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway. She can speak Japanese brilliantly, but she doesn't seem to want to say very much. The more she says, the more she's likely to give away. The Englishwoman knows that not only too well, she's quite formidable. Dr. Wilson's burn tells us something, I'm sure. I need to use this cross-examination to find out. I'm going to press her on everything. Alright, yep, do it.
Yes!
Let's try that one. Inferior? What do you mean by that? In the hands of the great British Empire, the police store everything found at a crime scene for later examination. But in this country, you investigate once and that's the end of it. Isn't that so? Quite right. La Carnival is open for business as usual today, just days after the incident. Exactly.
Wait.
Which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost. If that doesn't... It doesn't even occur to your naive detectives to try to preserve the crime scene. I'm trying to be as tactful about this as I can, you understand. Killer blow. The lady is as formidable as she is beautiful. He's actually admitting our police may be flawed. Perhaps Prosecutor Archie is finally starting to see sense. I very much doubt that. Still, there's something about what Miss Brett just said. There was a moment before when something didn't seem quite right. What do you think, Ryunosuke? I think it's going terribly. No matter how much I press her, I'm not turning up any new information. Yes, as I suspected, she's a tough witness. We need to find a way to break her testimony or the cross-examination will be over. But that would mean I have to find a way. There must be some clue somewhere to help us find a chink in our armor. There's one thing I noticed, something that's been bothering me. You mean about Miss Barrett? Barrett. Actually, no. About the person standing next to her, Inspector Hosonaga. The detective? Yes. He seemed to react a little strangely to Miss Brett's last statement. I was wondering if it might be significant, if it might present an opening maybe. Alright, I have an idea. Try pressing her on the last statement one more time. You think so, but this time, instead of targeting the woman herself, let's see what we can get out of the detective. Alright then, I wonder what Kazuma's thinking. I'll find out soon enough, I suppose, once I press Miss Brett on her last statement again. Unfortunately, I have no idea when the appointment happened.
Yes!
Inferior? What do you mean by that? In the hands of the Great British Empire, the police, everything found crime. In this country, you investigate once and that's the end of it. Isn't that so? Quite right.
Wait.
Yes, there it is again. The detective's reaction is just the same as before. Why? Up until now, the detective has been in the stand with Miss Brett as her interpreter. But things are different now. For this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the English woman has to say. This could be a golden opportunity. What do you mean? When people are actually testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when they're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they often let their guard down. You're right. Look at him. He's lost in his own thoughts. It's time to pursue the man and his train of thought. Sorry, pursue? I'll explain how to do it now, Ryunosuke. It's all to do with the witness marker. What marker? At the moment, we're focused on Miss Brett, who's the person actually making the current statement. But by moving the marker left and right, you can turn your attention to other people in the stand. While you're looking at the other witness, you'll be able to pursue them with... Okay, if you can catch the person at just the right time, you might be able to uncover new information for sure. If you ever notice a strange atmosphere amongst the people in the stand, take a good look around. So first I should move the marker across with the directional pad and focus on the detective.
Wait. Excuse me.
Got it. What's the meaning of this? I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to shock you. He really was lost in his thoughts. Deeply. It looked like you were thinking something just now, Inspector. Perhaps having heard what the lady next to you had to say? If there's something you'd like to say, please share it with the court.
Objection!
What is the meaning of this? It's the delightful English woman who's testifying at the moment. If you can't find fault with her testimony, then the cross-examination should be over immediately. Oh, is that how it works? Absolutely not. The detective is in the stand, which makes him a valid witness. Yes, not to mention the fact that he's all intimately involved in the case. Inspector Hosonaga. Yes. Do you have something to add in relation to the statement just made by Miss Brett? Well, yes, if you don't mind, I would like to... The lady is right. Our country's police practices are not as modern as those used in Great Britain. Which is why I, Satoru Hosonaga, always strive to make every investigation I'm involved in flawless. What do you really mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean. I won't have evidence lacking on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the scene of the crime. It's preserving evidence, you see. I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief. I'm not ashamed of what I've done. Uh-huh. A crime scene thief. Well, it looks like the lady's remarks touched a nerve there. Take this for example. Is that? This is the bottle of carbonated water that I took to the victim's table on the day in question. And yes, it lost all its fizz, having been opened 3 days ago. But it was carbonated water. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, there's some left in the bottle. I can see it. One day our police force will be among the best in the world. The time is coming, I guarantee it. I Can't say I condone the witness's actions, but I do understand the sentiment. The court will accept the glass bottle of water as evidence. There you go. Miss Brett, can you confirm this is indeed the bottle from which you drank on the day of the victim's death? Yes, it's that bottle. What was that about? She seemed to avert her eyes when she answered the judge's question. Very well, counsel, you may resume the cross-examination. And the inspector will kindly control his fervor. I should check out that water bottle. I can't find anything out of place. The label is written in a foreign language that I don't recognize. Do you know what it says, Kazuma? I think it's French. This must be a very expensive water. Yes, but what does it say? That's what I'm asking. Then go to France and ask. You can just say that you don't know. Oh, what was that? Hold on. So this carbonated water is the last drink Dr. Wilson ever had. Looks like there's a little left in the bottle, although it's just plain water now. You know, I've been sweating so much I'm absolutely parched. I'll just have a sip of this to keep it going. No, Ryunosuke, you can't do that. For one thing, that's evidence. You can't go drinking evidence. Oh no, you're right. We don't know what might be inside, do we? You never cease to amaze me, Ryunosuke, in more ways than one. I wonder, could there be anything in this water? What's the matter? You've gone quiet all of a sudden. I think I might have just worked something out. An interesting possibility. Alright. Uh-huh.
Yes!
The bottled water? Actually, there is one method of killing a man without leaving a trace that comes to mind. So I should have waited for the bottle to come up rather than using the champagne glass in the picture. Obviously, I'm referring to poison. Poison? On the day of his death, we know that Dr. Wilson drank from this bottle of carbonated water. Could it be that there was poison inside? Could it be that the professor actually died from poison? Order! Order! And on that day, who was sitting at the same table as the professor and able to slip the poison into his drink? There's only one person who could have possibly done it. Jezail Brett, it was you.
Objection!
This is outrageous to suggest such a thing without a scrap of evidence. You little rookie imbecile. Have you even considered the delicate situation our country finds itself in now? Have you forgotten that we have only just signed an accord of friendship with the British Empire? Have you even the vaguest inkling that your rash accusation could jeopardize this entire treaty?
Objection!
This is not a political arena. This is a trial to determine one individual's guilt with respect to one crime. But the fact that this woman is British makes no difference. We are here to determine the truth. Gah. Ahem. If I may, I will silence you forever for this disgraceful attack on your beloved. Oh. It is you who should be silent. Of course. Dear lady. Where did that come from? She just snapped. I'm afraid I may have spoken unfairly before. I offer my most humble apologies. I'm sorry, my lady. To what are you referring? I described your police force as inferior, but no matter how inferior they may be, you still investigated this particular point thoroughly, I believe. The bottle, I mean, Inspector, and whether it contained poison or not. Of course. You did? Have you forgotten what my guiding principle is already? I strive for a flawless investigation every time. I don't believe it. Naturally, we tested the inside of the bottle and its contents. And? What did you find, Inspector? I ordered a test for every toxin that's available in this country at the present time. We could find no trace of poison of any description in the bottle of carbonated water, Your Excellency. What? Are you sure? The tests were meticulously carried out by the chief coroner himself. No. Ah. This is a really long court session, man. I'm very grateful to all you Japanese. You've successfully established my complete innocence in this horrid affair. Thank you. But of course, dear lady, the pleasure was all ours. I was so sure. This can't be right. Everything falls into place if he was poisoned. Thank you, Counsel. I think that cross-examination has clarified everything. As the prosecution have asserted, a shot to the chest from this gun is the only conceivable cause of death. Furthermore, the accused, who by his own admission was holding this weapon, is the only possible culprit. I'm done for. The court wishes to apologize for the great inconvenience this has caused you, Miss Brett. Oh no, I'm just glad the matter is resolved. Before proceeding, I must ask the counsel for the defense. Do you have any further new evidence to present the court at this point? Kazuma? I'm sorry, Rinosuke. Nothing more. Well, if you excuse me now, I really must be leaving.
Hold it!
Please wait. Oh, a new party member. Isn't that... What's the meaning of this? Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Susato Mikotoba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense. Mikotoba? In my darkest hour, with nowhere left to go, she appeared like a bolt of lightning. And in her hand, she carried a small package wrapped in a furoshiki cloth.